ready, go ahead and he can field some questions, and we'll get players in here momentarily.
Go ahead.
We're joined by the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, the 2021 SEC champions, Nick Saban. We'll go ahead and ask Coach Saban for an opening comment, and then we will take questions. Coach?
Well, I'm extremely proud of our coaching staff, our players, the entire organization. We've probably had to overcome more adversity, and this team has had to endure and have more resiliency from a competitive standpoint than probably most of the teams that we've ever had. And I'm really proud of them for that. Also, the competitive character that they have. Last week at Auburn, to come back and win the game, to come into this game that nobody thought we had a chance to win, and really go out there and perform well in the game against a really good team. Georgia should be congratulated on the great season that they had. To go undefeated is really something of significance. The SEC championship game is always a tough game. If you look back through the years, you know, we've played 1-2 a couple times, 1-3 a couple times. So it's not easy. And I think that our players really prepared well for this game and executed extremely well, fixed a lot of problems that we had. So just a tremendous victory, team victory. Defense got a couple turnovers, a couple fourth down stops were very important. Offensive line did a really good job of blocking their pressures, gave Bryce the opportunity to operate, which he did a magnificent job of, you know, all night. So great team win for us.
Thank you, Coach. We're going to start. Please give your name and affiliation. We're going to start over here, Coach, on the right side in 3 rows back.
Hey, Nick. Jeff Spiegel, WBMA, Birmingham. After the loss to Texas A&M, you said your team was no longer viewed as elite. What did tonight do in terms of regaining respect?
Well, I think it gave us an opportunity to have a 2-game season. We have a 2-game season now, I hope. That's what we're going to work for. That's what we want to do. You know, these players have worked hard all year long. I think they deserve a lot of respect for what they've been able to accomplish and what they've been able to do. But at the same time, you know, how are you going to look forward? I'm sure Georgia will get in the playoffs again and still, and they deserve it. They're a very good team. So, you know, it's how do we move forward? We've created an opportunity for ourselves where we have a chance to play in the college football playoff. How are we going to prepare? How are we going to be committed to do the things we need to do? Obviously, we've lost a lot of really good football players this year on our team. John Mechie's probably going to be out. Now we have a couple other guys that, you know, may be injured. It creates a lot of opportunity for a lot of other players, and hopefully, you know, we'll be able to get them to step up. So really, really pleased and proud of this team creating an opportunity to be in the playoff, to play in the playoffs. This is always kind of our goal. So I was really, really pleased and happy for the players to see them be able to accomplish that goal, especially the way they played tonight.
Before we take other questions, we're now joined by quarterback Bryce Young, who is MVP tonight. Also, Jordan Battles. Gentlemen, we'll start with Bryce. If you could just give an opening comment, your reaction to tonight's game. Bryce?
Yeah, it was obviously a huge win for us. I'm super excited, super happy for the team. Kind of what Coach was saying is, you know, just creating that opportunity for us. You know, we know there's a long road ahead. We have that. You know, we're hoping to get into that two-team season. So we got, you know, that 2-game season to prepare for, and, you know, it's a good one. We have the 24-hour rule, and then we'll get back at it.
Thank you, Bryce. Jordan, your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, I feel like it was a great game. I feel like we mentally prepared all throughout the week. We had some great practices, and it carried over to the game. But the main thing is, you know, right now just staying humble, not getting too big-headed. I know we beat the number 1 team, but we got to stay on track, and we got to get ready and prepare for this, hopefully, 2-game season.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We'll now resume questions for either coach or the players. We'll go over here to our left-hand side. Please address who the question is for. Go ahead.
Yeah, Michael Casagrande, AL.com for Nick and Bryce. What changed in that second quarter offensively where
things were struggling a little bit in the first quarter, but really exploded in the second.
I think it was just us as a whole. Obviously we wanted to get out to a better start than we did, but I think we all stepped up and we all answered the bell. We all understood, what was at stake. We all understood that we needed to step up. So I'm blessed to have the teammates I do that. When our back's kind of against the wall, we understand to need to have a type situation. We kind of got our sparking and started moving. So I'm happy we started to get going when we did.
I actually think that I agree 100% with what Bryce said, but I think sometimes when you start a game, the speed of the game gets you a little bit. The speed of their defense, maybe a couple times, their backs got outside of us because, it was probably happened a little faster than what we'd practiced and what we're used to. And I think once you sort of get used to the speed of the game, like their pass rush and all that, I think you start operating a little bit better, and our efficiency got much better in the offensive line as well as on defense.
Okay, we'll go over here onto the right side on the end. Front row.
Richard Johnson, Sports Illustrated. Coach Saban, you talked about giving Bryce a lot of time to operate today. What were some things that got the pass protection better this week from the Iron Bowl to today?
Well, I think the offensive line really answered the challenge, that we sort of put to them in terms of them being more physical, in this game. They probably prepared a little better than I've ever seen them all season long in terms of studying the guys they had to block and the things they had to do. I think we did a little bit better job as coaches in terms of having some protection multiples that maybe we didn't always get as many guys out in the pass routes, but we also gave the quarterback time to operate. So, and sometimes when those multiples sort of can affect how you pressure on defense, and I think all those things probably contribute to us getting in a little better rhythm as the game wore on.
Okay, we'll go down here to our front left.
For Nick, you had mentioned before the game you weren't sure how players would respond to being underdogs in this game. Just how do you think they responded, and how much was that used as motivation?
I think what these guys really wanted to sort of gain was more respect. Not just the fact that they were underdogs, because I think we had a tremendous amount of respect for Georgia, their team, and what they accomplished. But you guys gave us a lot of really positive rat poison. The rat poison that you usually give us is usually fatal. But the rat poison that you put out there this week was yummy.
All right, we'll go over here on the right, in front row, in the middle.
I don't know how to follow that. But, Bryce, how much? Usually the offensive line only gets attention from us when they give up 7 sacks or something. But how much did those guys impact this game against that defensive front?
Yeah, that was everything. It was obviously that's a great front, a great defense, and we knew that coming in. And I think they just kept hearing it, and like Coach said, they accepted the challenge and they really stepped up to the plate, in the biggest moment in the season. So, in all the success that we have offensively, it always starts up front. So I'm glad that you said that. You only hear about, people try to only say negative things about offensive lines in general and about our own line, but you don't understand every time that there's a positive play, and whether it's the run game, the pass game, whatever it is, nothing starts without our O-line. And they did an amazing job today. They stepped up to the plate, and I'm happy to have the guys that I do.
Okay, we'll go over here on our left-hand side.
Nick and Bryce, why were you guys able to have so much success against Georgia's defense today and make them do things I haven't seen them do much this season?
Bryce, you want to go ahead with that one?
Yes, so. Yeah, I think that was a really good defense. Had really good players, great coaching, and I think it was just about how we prepared. We kind of wanted to all as offense take that challenge, and you like Coach is saying, you hear the rat poison, and it was kind of against us this week, and we took preparation very seriously, and we all understood the magnitude of the moment, and we all stepped up. So it was everybody, all 11. It was the coaches, doing a great job calling plays, managing situations. So it was a team effort, and we know that it was a great win, and we have to keep on improving.
I still think that it started up front. Their front has been so dominant in terms of pressuring people, kind of taking them out of their game, that you could never, ever really get the ball, out very successfully on a very consistent basis, which is a tribute to them. Their scheme, their players are very good. And it still goes back to the offensive line did a very, very good job of allowing us to get the ball down the field and our receivers to be able to work in the passing game, which we knew was going to be something that was going to be really important in this game. And so it really started up front.
Okay, we're going to go straight in front of me in the second row, the middle.
Hey there, Lane Higgins from the Wall Street Journal. Coach Saban, you had mentioned earlier in the season that this team was young and was maybe a little inexperienced and immature at times, and you kind of had some choice words for them on some of your radio shows earlier. And I'm curious, if you could speak to the growth that you've seen now, and what specific areas have you seen this team change the most over the course of the season to this point?
Well, I think this team has shown tremendous resiliency, which I talked about before, to overcome adversity. We've had we were young, and we actually got younger because we lost players that gave opportunities to other players, and all those guys have stepped up very nicely for us. But the big thing I like about these guys is they responded the right way when they got beat. Nobody really ever thinks when I say sometimes it's not a bad thing to get beat. Jordan mentioned the word humility. Having respect for winning and what it takes to win and what it takes to prepare to win are all things that are really important. And sometimes when you win 19 games in a row, you lose a little respect for that. And I think that's something that from the Texas A&M game on, we've been able to grow as a team. We haven't always been the most consistent, but at times when we've played well, like we're capable of playing, we've been very, very good. And we're just trying to get that on a little more consistent basis. And I think the players understand that. These guys, you can coach guys, but they don't have to take coaching. And these guys have all done a marvelous job, in my opinion, of doing what the coaches ask them to do, trusting and believing in the system, trusting and believing in each other. And I think that's probably where we've made sort of the greatest strides in becoming a team.
Okay, we're going to go over on the right side, right here on the near aisle. Go ahead.
Johnny Condon, ABC 3040. This is for Jordan. After the Arkansas game, y'all were taking a lot of heat, especially in the secondary. You and DeMarco specifically the last 2 weeks in the Iron Bowl against Auburn and then again today, communication-wise, you guys seem to be on the same page. You guys made some big plays in this game tonight. Can you speak to your relationship with him and just you guys as a unit back there in the secondary and how you've really grown over these last few weeks?
Yeah, I feel like we did a great job with communicating and being on the same page. Like I said, this week in practice, that was the main thing, preparing mentally, because physically we got all the intangibles, all the everything. So just being on the same page, every play is a big key factor in the game because when we give up big plays, that's on us. And I think we did a great job focusing and on being on having one mind today. Actually, we talked about that in chapel before the game, having one mind. I want to give a big shout out to Jeremiah Castile, former player at Alabama. So, thank you.
Okay, we'll go down here right in front.
Nick, you talked about this past week in the Auburn game on that drive, the final drive, that Bryce, some of the biggest plays he made were when he just got rid of the ball to extend it. The touchdowns are easy to spot in this game, but what plays stood out to you the most that he made tonight that helped you guys get this win?
Well, there was a lot of big plays in the game, which was something that we wanted to. I think the Jamison Williams long touchdown in the beginning of the game, they came down and played two trap. The safety was supposed to trap him. We got through him, and I think that changed the momentum of the game a little bit for us, so that was really important. But from a coach's perspective, to be able to manage the last drive when we needed to take the air out of the ball and not keep giving them the ball back, which our defense was really, really tired when we played a lot of plays in the third quarter. That was huge. And a lot of those were 4-yard gains, 5-yard gains, 8-yard gains. So they weren't the big plays. But those are things that win games, when you can take the air out of it at the end of the game and don't give the other team an opportunity to get back in the game.
Okay, we'll go in the center aisle. Brandon, it's right behind you.
Brandon Marcello, 24/7 Sports. This is for Coach Saban and Jordan. What did you guys do to really fluster Stetson Bennett tonight and obviously force him into a couple of huge mistakes?
Go ahead, Jordan, if you want to lead.
I think the main thing in this game was our disguises. We put in a lot of disguises this week, and that was a big thing. Have his eyes wandering around before the play. I feel like we did a good job in the back end and in the linebackers stemming and disguising. So I think that was a big part of the game.
Well, I think that, you try to change the picture as much as you can and make the quarterback try to make decisions after he gets the ball in his hand. And, Stetson Bennett to me is very instinctive, very good player. And if he knows what the picture is, and a couple times tonight when he knew what the picture was, that's when he made plays, and several big plays. So I think us changing the picture on him a little bit helped. And we have to play the ball better in the deep part of the field. We've had a couple of those the last couple of weeks that are things that we need to do better. But all in all, I think that was probably the one thing that helped it the most. And pass rush always helps you if you get good pass rush. And we affected him in the pocket. He scrambled some, which is, you hate, but you're also affecting a guy when you do that because you're not throwing the ball in town.
Okay, Aaron, we'll go right here in front.
Aaron Suttles, The Athletic. Nick, you know how difficult it is to run the ball in Georgia. You guys seem to commit to it, and I know some of it was Bryce running, but you averaged about 4.5 yards a carry. What was the key to that tonight?
Well, I think Bryce's, scrambles probably contributed to that as much as anything. B-Rob being able to play in the game and grind out some tough yards. I thought Trey did a good job. And again, it's got to go back to the offensive line. Being a little more physical in this game against a very physical front, big, athletic guys, quick on the edges. So we need to continue to try to develop a balanced attack so that we don't put ourselves behind the 8-ball down and distance-wise. I think that's when we're most effective.
We have time for two more. We'll start right behind Aaron in third row.
Blake Topmeyer, USA Today Network. For Nick or the players, could you foresee this coming? Was there any indication, throughout this week that a performance like this maybe was coming this weekend?
I'd say we always have faith and confidence in each other. As a player, we always have faith and confidence in the coaching staff. So for us, I don't think we ever really blinked or wavered. We understood the work that was necessary during the week, and we understood what we had to do to prepare. But we always have confidence in each other. We always believe in each other and push each other. So I think we're all confident going in.
I think from my perspective, when I think the players have the right mindset in terms of how they go through the week and how that leads up to the game, then their focus, their preparation are all things that created habits that are going to help them play better in the game. And when we do that, I think we usually perform well. Did I foresee this happening? I mean, sometimes you do all that and the other team makes some plays too. So, but I thought we had the right mindset in this game in our preparation for the game.
Okay, we'll take one final question right in front of me, about 3/4 of the way back. Go ahead.
Drew DeArmond, WCZN Radio. This is for Coach Saban and the players. Talk about the complimentary guys. You talked about John Mechie being injured, but in the second half, Slade Bolden, Trayshawn Holden, and Ja'Cory Brooks taking advantage of opportunities to make plays to help the offense win the game.
Yeah, well, I think we have some young guys, and I think that are going to get opportunities now. They certainly Ja'Cory Brooks did it last week and this week. And I think, Slade played really well. But I also think that a lot of that comes from Bryce, having trust and confidence, in those guys as well. Because a good quarterback can make receivers look good, and those guys have to run good routes and do things the right way to get open. But I think his faith, trust, and confidence in those guys have helped their development tremendously.